We talked about it at the top when we introduced you, but Claude, you're obviously a high school official, retired college official. And as you know, in recent years, college officiating crews have come under a lot of scrutiny for bad calls, missed calls. I
Right.
mean, it happens in the NFL as well. But most recently, the Wildcat fans were really furious over what they were calling an embarrassing officiating against South Carolina. So I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on the state of officiating in college football? And do you think the fans need to cut the crews some slack, or are we on top of our calls from our couch as we think we are?
Yeah, let me first start out by saying, fans, coaches, y'all need to calm down. Okay. Okay. All right. Look, officiating is probably the toughest job out there. We have keys. We are looking for certain things on the field. And like humans, we make mistakes like everyone else. There are some egregious calls that should have not been called. I get it. That's clear cut. But when it comes to holding, and let me bring you into the officiating world really quick about holding. Okay. 98% of the time, players are holding. They hold every single down. And that's what fans out there who are sitting on the couch, watching the game, who's at the bar, holding occurs every single down. Are we going to call holding every single down? No. What we put an emphasis in, and this is an inside scoop, did it have something to do with the play? If it's away from the play, we're not going to call that. What's going to happen is a player is going to complain. Of course you are. What is our explanation? You were not part of the play. Why should I be calling a hold on your side? Second, if a hold occurs and the player releases just in time, we let that fly. That's an inside scoop. Okay. The only way we call holding if it is continuous, if he continues throughout the play holding. Okay. We could go from a 3.5-hour game to 5.5-hour game. Tell us what you want.
That's true.
Okay. But overall, I think the state of officiating, the guys are getting older. We have guys who have been officiating college football, NFL, and so forth for 15, 20 years. The problem is that we're getting older and the game is getting faster. Mm-hmm. So that causes an issue of being able to react as quick as possible. How we move, obviously, is getting a little slower. They're getting a little faster. How we react towards hand movement, hip movement, holding, grabbing, it might be a little bit slower. That's been an issue in the last several years, is the rotation of officials. There's a lot of officials out there who feel like they can go 15, 20, 25 years. This is not baseball. And I think that's one of the reasons why I hung it up for college football, because there was no room for the young developing officials to make a move up to that next level. There are a lot of young officials who are ready for that primetime games, but we can't get up there because Uncle John over here is still officiating and it's causing a little ruckus. Now, do I give a total excuse to the officials? No, because you have the replay booth upstairs. We have the ability to look at a play. You have the ability to overturn your calls. There's a lot of ego within the officiating world.
No.
You can't, yeah, shockingly, we do. It's almost like you can't tell me anything. I'm going to call this. My chest is high. If you want to yell at me, you can write a letter to the commissioner. I'll take a look at it on a Sunday. Who cares? But at the end of the day, I feel like there is a minor issue with the overall product on the field. But at the same time, fans just need to give a little slack. And I understand every team wants home cooking, but that's not always the case. We try to be fair. We try to be right down the line, but we're not going to catch everything. Being in officiating for 14 years in the high school level, 4 years in the college level, I've seen it all. And I've seen, between us, I've seen favorites. Some, if we miss a call, we tend to favor the next call. I know fans see that as well. Like, okay, so you didn't give it here, but you're going to give it there. In your mind, you should know already it's just a favorite call. So overall, the state of officiating is okay. We have the technology in place. We just don't have the ability to rotate officials. And several years ago, I was told that the SEC is trying to implement a certain amount of years officials can be out there. One of the top officials, Matt Austin, who is the SEC replay official that they call in to ask him expert advice. He's here in Louisville. He's actually the one that got me into high school football and the SEC. He points out that his body was wearing down. You know, he loved the game, but the game was going too fast. It was time. He's still, I would say, probably in the 50s, still young, still can move. He's a white hat. He doesn't have to move too much. But he just said it just warmed down. The game was moving fast. It was time to get a different role. And that's probably the main issue, is that guys are just hanging on way too long, and the game is passing them by.